Hi everyone. So today I want to make another food crime and answer a question that nobody asked, which is what would happen if you make a banana mayonnaise? Now, I know that sounds a little weird, but honestly, I was really surprised at how this one turned out. Also, along the way, I kind of experimented with some other flavors of mayonnaise, like peanut butter mayonnaise, but we'll get into that along the way. Now, actually, because of this video, I had to actually take a week off of filming. During the filming of this recipe, I actually burned my face pretty bad. And I don't know if you guys can see it too well, but there's just some remnants of it. It's healed up pretty well, but basically I burned half my face and my chest while filming this video. And I'll get into what caused that later, but it was basically, obviously it was something stupid that I did. But for right now, let's not focus on that. Let's talk about actually how to make banana mayonnaise, and let's just jump into it. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is gather all of our ingredients, and for the first time in a long time, I happen to have all these ingredients in my house, and I didn't have to go shopping for a recipe. And hopefully that's the case for you as well. Okay, so now we need to just basically pour off 1 cup of a neutral oil. And basically that means anything that really isn't olive oil. Olive oil will work for this, but it'll just give a really strong taste and won't really work for this mayonnaise. Once you have your oil kind of measured off, we can move on to basically cracking open 1 egg and just putting this in. And then additionally, we're gonna need the juice from 1/2 of a lemon. So after you get that kind of juice, just go ahead and pour that in with the egg yolk. And then we can move on to the star ingredient, which is our banana. Now, as you can see, this banana is quite ripe, and it's not my favorite stage for eating. However, this is a really good point for using. For example, if you're making banana bread, this is really the stage at which you want to use the bananas. And the reason for that is because it gets a little bit riper and sweeter, and also really, I think, has a much stronger banana flavor, although the texture is definitely not the best. But for this recipe, it's gonna work pretty well. So just break that up and then just put this in with the egg and lemon juice. Once you have the banana broken up, we just need to blend all this together. And this definitely would be the world's weirdest smoothie if we were to stop here. But we're not going to. We're gonna add another ingredient, which is the oil. So at this point, we're just gonna slowly add in the oil. And the goal of this is basically we're trying to emulsify the water from the egg and lemon in with the oil. And this emulsification is also gonna trap air in there, which is basically why mayonnaise is so light and fluffy. This stable emulsion will really just give us a really nice mayonnaise. Now, I have to say, if you're making a real mayonnaise, there's other ingredients that you would add in here, such as Dijon mustard and maybe garlic if you're going for like an aioli. Now, I think that these really won't work with the banana flavor, so I'm just gonna omit those. It definitely won't have the full flavor of a real mayonnaise, especially without that mustard. However, I still think I would consider this a mayonnaise. Now, at this point, we should be done, but I forgot a key ingredient, which is we need a little bit of salt. And for this, it's okay to add it afterwards and just kind of give it to taste. But yeah, that's basically it for our banana mayonnaise. Now, I was feeling quite confident after this, so I decided to go ahead and try to make a different type of mayonnaise. And so for that, I was gonna actually go for a peanut butter mayonnaise. So I'm just gonna repeat the same process of 1 egg and then 1/2 of a lemon worth of juice. And then to this, I wanna add about a tablespoon of peanut butter. And then this time I added the salt ahead of time. And then just like before, we're gonna pre-blend this to kind of get all the ingredients together, creating, once again, the weirdest looking smoothie that I've ever seen. Once we have everything pre-blended, just like before, we're gonna add a little bit of oil in at a time. And essentially that's just gonna create the same type of mayonnaise like we've had beforehand. Now, one thing to note here, and I didn't really think about it ahead of time, is that the peanut butter itself has oil in it. So I'm really adding a lot of oil. And also, I was maybe a little bit more zealous in dumping in the oil. So what actually happened, in case you were wondering, what happens if you don't put the oil in slowly and you don't mix it? You basically get this, which is, it's somewhat fluffy, but you can see here that the texture is very liquidy. Now there's an easy solution to this, so don't give up if you end up with this stage. The first solution that I tried was, I was trying to go for that pro gamer move, and I decided to add what's known as soy lecithin. And basically this is a common emulsifier you'll find in a lot of stuff, and it just basically allows the oil and water inside of this mixture to come together a lot easier. And honestly, it didn't really work. And I think the reason for that was just there's too much oil from the peanut butter. So to solve this, really the easiest solution, which is what I would recommend, is just go back to the drawing board and basically just treat that failed mayonnaise as your oil. And so just start in a new bowl, add another egg, and then just slowly pour in that failed mayonnaise from beforehand. And what you'll see is that actually in the end, this did whip up really nicely. And yeah, in the end, I had this nice peanut butter mayonnaise. Although I have to say that I did a taste test and it was absolutely abhorrent. I do not recommend making this. It was very, very gross. I think there's just too much oil from the peanut butter and it doesn't really lend itself to a nice mayonnaise. Now, I don't really know if there's a better way of doing this, and I might continue to play around with this in the future. All right, so now we have the banana mayonnaise. Now what do we do? And that's a really good question because I feel like I didn't have a real good application in mind when doing this. Now, I did do a taste test and it did taste really well. Now the peanut butter one, as you saw, it did not taste very good. In fact, I had to just kind of throw that out. It was really gross actually. The banana mayonnaise from a little simple taste test is pretty good. Now I gotta find a way to actually use this. Now I had thought about a bunch of different things, but in the end I settled on an Elvis sandwich. Now for those of you who have never heard of that before, basically it's a sandwich that has peanut butter, banana, and bacon. And sometimes there's other ingredients added as well, but I think that's the most simple version of it. I want to kind of make this, but make a like unhealthier version, which takes something from one of my favorite sandwiches, which is a BLT. Now I think BLT is really one of the main ingredients, which is not the BL or T, is the actual mayonnaise on the bread. And I think that really makes the whole sandwich kind of come together. And I'm kind of curious what happens if you make an Elvis sandwich, but with mayonnaise. So let's find out. So, okay, to start off with, we're gonna need to make some bacon. Now I have basically some bacon here and I'm gonna use my favorite method, which is to actually just bake it. Now for this, just basically get a tray with a grating so that the bacon's not sitting in its own fat. And just basically put the bacon onto the grating. And yeah, all we need to do is bake this at 375 for about 10 minutes. And honestly, I think this is the best way to make bacon. Shout out to Chef John from Food Wishes, who basically had a really nice video showing me how to do this. Okay, so just bake this for 10 minutes and we'll come back to it. Okay, so this is actually the spot where I hurt myself. Now, I'm filming this a second time. This is not the bacon that I baked where I actually injured myself. The first time I did this, I baked it off screen and I had basically the toaster oven up on a higher shelf. And when I went to go remove the bacon sheet after the bacon was done being made, I pulled it out and then I tilted it ever so slightly. The hot grease just ran down my face and over my chest. And let me tell you, that really hurt. I was extremely lucky in the fact that it didn't get into my eyes. It got pretty close, but that's just, that's what happens when you're stupid in the kitchens. Don't be silly like I am. Try to think these things through and realize that there's, having hot oil pulled out from above your head it's not a good idea. Don't do that. Thankfully, my face is healed okay, and I can continue to make videos. So let's get back into this one and we'll have some bacon. Okay, so once our bacon's done, we can pull this out carefully and try not to spill oil all over your face. And then additionally, we're going to need to toast some bread for this recipe. Now, this is obviously an optional step, but I think it adds a little bit to the total package of what I'm trying to go for. So just toast 2 slices of bread, and once that's done, basically we're ready for final assembly. Just make sure to change your shirt into a different flour shirt for the final shot, and yeah, let's actually put all this together. So just starting off with the peanut butter and just apply a liberal amount onto the toasted bread, and just getting a nice even layer of peanut butter on one side. And then on the other half, we're gonna add a little bit of that banana mayonnaise on the other side. So again, just giving a nice even layer of this banana mayonnaise. Once we have that all nice and coated in banana mayonnaise, I had an extra banana and said, you know what, I'm gonna use that here. So I'm just gonna bolster that banana flavor a little bit by actually adding in some banana. So just slice this up and place this onto the half with the banana mayonnaise. And then we can just put our bacon strips onto the peanut butter side and then basically just put this together. And yeah, this is our final sandwich. And I think it looks absolutely beautiful. Now I decided to actually just chop this in half. And now it's the moment of truth where we actually get to do the taste test. Okay, so now it's time to taste everything. So I have the banana mayonnaise here, and I also have the Elvis peanut butter mayonnaise sandwich that I've made. We'll get to that in a second. First, let me just give a quick taste test to the mayonnaise itself. Now, spoiler alert, I did taste this a little bit already, so I know what I think about it, but I'm gonna go ahead and pretend like I haven't done that already. So, it's really good. Now, I know this sounds weird. I really don't like mayonnaise, but honestly, this banana mayonnaise might be one of the best things I've ever made. It's weird because it definitely does taste like mayonnaise. It has that that oily, fluffy flavor. But the first very quick instant taste you get is of the bananas, and it almost kind of tastes like a banana cheesecake. You have that banana and the lemon and kind of the oiliness and creaminess of the egg. And it all comes together really well. And it's not overly sweet, so it really does, I think it will work with savory stuff. But it's got like a nice subtle sweetness. I totally recommend making the banana mayonnaise. I'm really curious to see if anybody else does that, and if you do, tell me what you make with it, because I think the hardest thing is just finding applications. So speaking of that, let's go to the peanut butter banana, like Elvis slash BLT crossover sandwich. So essentially that was just the peanut butter, banana, and mayonnaise. And normally I would not put those ingredients together, but I feel like this might be, I might be onto something. So let me just give it a little taste test first. That's really delicious. Now, I've had those Elvis style sandwiches before, but they can be kind of overwhelming with like the peanut butter. Sometimes like it's like similar when you have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and it just kind of sticks to the roof of your mouth. The mayonnaise kind of helps prevent that from happening. So it doesn't taste as like really dry or cloyy in your, cloyy in your mouth. It really kind of tastes like a BLT with the mayonnaise in there. I would not ever I would never think that these ingredients would work together, but they do. Now, I'm sure somebody in the past has made this before, but I feel like I found something here. So give it a shot. Let me know what you do with it. And yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this week. I'm gonna finish eating this sandwich because honestly, I wanna keep eating it, but you guys don't need to watch that. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing because it really lets YouTube know that people like the stuff I make. And then it lets me know that people like the stuff that I make. And also, there's a Discord channel. So if you're interested in chatting with people who are into food, we've got a pretty cool little community going on there. I have a link for that down in the description. We just post pictures and talk about food and all that stuff. So come join us. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. All right, bye.